Now I want to talk about my thoughts on Formula One and what I would wish for Formula One to be like in the future. Um, I didn't like the developments they made, the changes, the rule changes in the last uh, 11 years. And even before that, I mean, let me just begin with saying that I think that the Formula One cars in the mid 90s, like those from 1997, were the most aesthetic ones. Hold on. Okay. I like the proportions. I like the size of the wings. I mean, they look very aesthetic. Now I don't like what they did afterwards in 1998. They made them narrower, and obviously the groove tires were a mistake. That's why they changed that again. They made them again wide up to 2 meters in 2017, like they were in 1997. And but then they make the wings bigger, the front wings. I don't like that. I think it looks better if the wings are, you know, just. I like it that the edge of the wing ends right there where the tire starts. I think this looks better. Obviously, they have more. The reasons behind all this are very, grounded on science and what they think is best for the racing. But because back then the differences between cars were very big, but I don't think that the fastest car and the slowest car, there was a big gap, and that was one reason they maybe changed the regulations. But I don't think that this is all down to the design of the car. I think it's about testing and money, and if someone already has an advantage, they can use that in the next season. So rule changes always neutralizes the advantage a team has. But just from the aesthetic point of view, I think those cars look the best. 1995, 6, 7, around that time. Um, Obviously, I did not like what they did in 2009 with those huge front wings, small, narrow, and tall rear wings. I did not like that. This was the worst time. Oh no, excuse me. The worst time was when they had those things on the front. I don't know, when was that? 2013. They had those stupid noses on top of the like cucumbers on the front of the nose. This was horrible, but yeah, this was the worst time for design from the aesthetic point of view of Formula One. Um, but then they went back to a different direction. 2017 was also a good year. Then they added the halo. Okay, I guess it's necessary. I think no one argues that it does not look good, but it's a necessity, obviously. I get it. They don't want to be sued or anything for any liabilities. You know. Um, but now let's think about what might be in the future. Um, I get it why they put in the hybrid system in cars. I get it. Formula One was always a pioneer. The Formula One technology was always pioneering. They had the first semi-automatic transmission. I think it was in 1990. Um, Ferrari was the first team which had this pedal shifter in Formula One. But compared to what we've got now in cars, which are much more refined, back then it was just brutal. I mean, if you look on old, if you look at the old onboard cameras, whenever they shift, they almost broke their neck with every shift because the hydraulic was just jamming in the gear and was like you always had the sound. And this is what they try to copy nowadays. When you have like a new road car and they shift and there's always this sound. This is all fake. The shift is so smooth and so with so little wear. The sound is just created artificially. It's just so stupid. But people don't know that. They think it's cool. They don't know what the background is. The background is the old Formula One cars. They made those sounds. When they shipped up, when they had an upshift, it was always like a huge bang of the gear being slammed in. But they always changed the transmission after every race, so they did not care about wear. You have to change the gearbox after every race. They also changed the engines after every race. Sometimes they had qualifying engines which were, ready for the trash after they used it. I think BMW had a turbo engine with 1,200 horsepower, which was just good for 3 laps and could not withstand the entire racing distance. In, I don't know, 86, 87, Benetton BMW. And so I think this was kind of cool, but I get that they were trying to cut costs, and with the exit of the tobacco companies, which were always flooding the teams with money, they would have to find a way to be more economical with their fundings. Yeah, and with the hybrid system, it's a very expensive. It's a very expensive engine. This is why we only have 4 engine manufacturers right now in Formula One, which is kind of sad. But as I said, I get it. They're pioneering. They're doing their share for society. It's not only fun to watch it. They're actually doing stuff which will be eventually put in modern street cars, passenger cars. So this is a nice nice thing. But now we have Formula E. Okay, there's already a racing series which is powered by electric engines or electric motors. But for me, I mean, obviously they will get better, they will get faster and stuff like that. It will be more entertaining. But just look at the courses they're driving, and they have high cornering speeds, but their top speed and everything, it's not that exciting. This is why they only race at small city courses. If they would put those Formula E cars on a Formula One track, it would be obvious to everybody that they could not keep up with a Formula One car. So, yeah, this is one thing. But what I was getting at, why I mentioned Formula E, let's just leave electric racing to them. I think if the hybrid era ends, and it will end eventually all cars will be powered by electric motors. And when that day comes, that internal combustion engine becomes obsolete, and Formula One did its share to develop the hybrid system, I think they should go back to just huge, naturally aspirated internal combustion engines like a, I don't know, 3.5 liter V10, V12, I don't know. I think this would be great, because eventually Formula One could be the only place where people would be able to experience this sound and this excitement, which is synonymous with motor racing of the 20th century. So, and this approach works very well with NASCAR. I mean, these are old school muscle cars, but built in a modern, sophisticated way. And people love it. It's a huge spectacle. They love the sound. They even love like even the pit stops are interesting to watch. You know, limited number of mechanics. They have 5 bolts in every tire, not a single one. And you know, this car jack. You know, it's just fun to watch. They could do it. They could go the other way and let the car lift itself up with hydraulics and just a single nut. And but they don't. But they refuse to do that. They stay with the traditional way because people love it. And I think this could be an option for Formula One for the future. When hybrid technology is done, when it gets obsolete, just go back to huge naturally aspirated engines with this incredible sound, and people will love it. I'm pretty sure they will love it. But the question is, maybe batteries won't be the future. Maybe because batteries are not good for the environment. I don't know if there's enough lithium available for all cars to be fitted with a battery. So what about hydrogen? Now, I know that the hydrogen cell is way more efficient and safer, and that that internal combustion engines with hydrogen are very hard to maintain. But I think, I mean, I heard about all the problems, premature ignition, and when the engine gets older and less reliable, there's a huge risk for a massive failure and a huge explosion. But if anybody can get it done, I think it will be the guys from Formula One, the engineers and all those people. And this would be a fun way. I mean, the idea is great, I guess, but it's just a question of, is it possible to get it done in practice? You know, that's just, I mean, BMW did a 7 Series with a V12 hydrogen engine, which uses internal combustion, and it works. So why shouldn't it be possible with racing cars? So you have this amazing sound, people love. You always hear this stories about, yeah, I remember all these old cars, how they screamed, and these crying engines with 20,000 RPM. Yeah, I think people would still love that, as people like this old V8 sound of a NASCAR pushrod engine. Although I'm not sure if they still have that. Is it still a pushrod engine? Do they still use carburetors? I think they changed something a couple of years ago. Maybe it's fuel injection now. I'm not sure. But the sound changed with NASCAR race cars a couple of years ago. I'm not sure what the reason was, but anyway, the people love the sound. They love the spectacle, and yeah, you would have that without any emissions if it would be possible to get it done with a hydrogen internal combustion engine. Just forget about efficiency. Just forget about you could still use petrol if you want. Gasoline. I mean, it would be just if no other car is driving on gas anymore. What do people care about if they're just 20 race cars burning fuel, like fossil fuels? Wouldn't harm anybody, but it would be a huge spectacle and people would love it. Just a little reminder of what it was like many years ago. But with modern technology, and the cars are way safer now, so they could deal with the impact of a fast car with a huge engine. And yeah, this would be this is just an idea. I know that it might never happen, but maybe someone listens to this, someone who's in charge or something, and maybe just give it a thought. I think people would love it, and yeah, I mean, everybody says that the sound of the old V10s, V12s are way more are better. So, and when they get it done with hydrogen, there would be no downside. It would be just amazing. No environmental pollution, just water, steam coming out of the exhaust. Yeah, but let's see what happens.